let's face it, guys. I didn't think they were going to win the game. You didn't think they were going to win the game. Sauce, DJ Reed, losing Michael Carter the second halfway through against that receiving core, against Jalen Hurts. I am absolutely shocked. I'm elated. We're 3-3 going into the bye. I could not have asked for anything more. So let's talk about it. What is going on, everybody? As always, I'm Pat, and this is JetCast. And like I said in the intro, I can't believe they won this game. This came down to the defensive line. They made Jalen Hurts uncomfortable all day. When you get that kind of a pressure off 3-man and 4-man fronts, eventually the quarterback is going to make mistakes. Like Rex Ryan always said, pressure bursts pipes. I think that was him who said it. If it wasn't, let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure he said that. Jalen Hurts is a really first down. Some of the standout players for me on this defense, obviously Bryce Huff, Quinnen and Quincy, just outstanding. Quincy is turning into an all-pro. Quincy is just flourishing as a pass rusher and has developed into a homegrown elite defensive end, and he was undrafted. And you have to, I'm sorry, like I said in the pregame, you cannot allow Bryce Huff to walk. When you get a player like that who's undrafted and he becomes a Pro Bowl caliber player, that is just which is just hilarious. I'm begging Nathaniel Hackett to draw up a goal line play for Quinn Williams. He is an animal when he has the ball in his hands. I mean, last year with the stiff arm to Tyreek was outstanding. Last season, one of the biggest critiques about this defense was the lack of turnovers created. They were a top 10 total takeaways. That ranks 3rd in the entire league. The only problem, though, so far is the offensive struggles, especially in the red zone. Zach Wilson is able to move this offense, but once they get inside that 20, the things just break down. Up until that Breece Hall TD, which, to be honest with you, the Eagles were obviously giving us the TD because they wanted to get the ball back. The Jets had not scored a touchdown in their last 8 to 9 red zone trips, which is horrendous. Hackett is supposed to be a guru in his gold zone, as he likes to call it. Clearly, the playbook looks a bit different under Zach than it did with Rodgers. But to go that many trips to the red zone without a touchdown is inexcusable. We can't keep field goaling teams to death. Even with slightly better offensive execution yesterday, you could have beaten the Eagles comfortably. But the mental mistakes, like the Lazard block, which, yes, it probably shouldn't have been called, but again, Lazard doesn't need to make that hit. The mental mistakes where Zach gets sacked, I believe it was on a 3rd down on a rollout, they can't happen anymore. This team is only going to go as far as its red zone offense at this point. Now, outside of the red zone struggles, here are some positive and negative takeaways from the game offensively. First, Zach Wilson reading defense, adjusting mid-game. A perfect example of this was when he took a massive sack from Hassan Reddick on 2nd down. The sack was a huge momentum killer, and Zach absolutely needs to learn to throw that ball away. But then later in the game, the defensive end is not supposed to be blocked on that play. And it is a play-action rollout. Seeing that later in the game shows some progress to me. 2022 Zach, he would probably not have made that adjustment, whether it was because of him or to Zach. He is trusting his receivers. He was victimized a lot by some drops in this game, but he's still trusting his receivers to get open, and these timing routes are really starting to work for this offense. Multiple times we saw Zach chuck it up, especially to Garrett Wilson, who had a strong game. That one deep throw to Garrett Wilson where Garrett climbs over the defender and makes the rainbow catch. I don't think Zach last year makes that throw, to be quite honest with you. But he is trusting that Garrett is going to be able to make plays with his hands. Number 3, Breece Hall needs to be fed. Now, this defense in the Eagles is very good at stopping the run, and we saw that in this game. I don't think Breece even broke 50 yards rushing, but they did enough to keep that defense and keep those linebackers honest, which I had mentioned was one of the keys in the games in my last video. He is pure electricity on the field. He adds so much more juice than Michael Carter and Dalvin Cook, who, quite frankly, are pretty stale and haven't added much to the offense this year. Coming out of the bye, I honestly think it's time that they start activating Izzy, because he may prove to be a better running back too, and we need someone better right now than Cook, because Cook is just not seeing the field very well right now. And the final thing I want to talk about, and I feel like I have to talk about this almost in every video, is the offensive line. They're obviously still going through some growing pains. Max Mitchell, however, played pretty decent, but I think there's still some moments where he looked like a turnstile. Hopefully we can just chalk that up to the fact that he's playing against the Eagles. Just on a side note, our first 6 games have just been a gauntlet. It's going to be nice to see how this team plays against the rest of the way with the schedule that we have. Unfortunately, though, we did lose Tippmann about halfway through the game. It looks like it's a thigh injury. Luckily, the team is going into the bye, so hopefully everybody can get healthy. They brought in Wes Schweitzer, who was just getting run over all game. But, Zach hung in the pocket. Just another key thing with Zach is he's not bailing the pocket anymore. Even with the offensive line playing as shaky as they are, he's standing in the pocket and he's delivering the ball on time where it needs to go. And yes, taking a sack at the end of the day is not the worst thing when the alternative is Zach making a bad decision and throwing the ball, it getting picked off, quite honestly. So the offensive line is still a work in progress. A major positive from this game is the reemergence of Becton. He's playing lights out at left tackle, and thank God. I was really worried about relying on Dwayne Brown. I know he's coming back. I don't want to see him play, honestly, at all. He can be Makai's. He can be a tackle backup at this point. Right now, I think our tackles are pretty solid right now between Becton and Max Mitchell. So, in all, we have to be optimistic heading into this bye week. We're 3-3. Even with Aaron Rodgers on this team, I would have been okay with 3-3. But the fact that the way they've done it, and we've seen some progress, some life out of Zach Wilson, it's like the light bulb is finally starting to flicker on. 3-3 is so much better mentally from a standpoint than 2-4 for this football team, especially when you beat a team like the Eagles at home and the way you did it. So we have a week off. Let's hope everybody rests up, get healthy, and let's go into this Giants game. And I fully expect them to just steamroll the Giants, but we'll get into that in another video. Hope to see you again. Like I said, I'm Pat. This is JetCast. Give us a subscribe and like.